Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Dinar usage and in general trinkets, best trinkets to use in Season 4 for Ret Paladins. Now before the patch came out, like a month or two before, I did a look ahead at what was probably going to be best to use your Dinars for and stuff, and that video is still mostly true, but there were some tuning changes that kind of shook things up a little bit and kind of made it so that there's 4 tier 1 trinkets instead of 2 tier 1 trinkets, and kind of switched the order as well, notably moving Old Warrior Soul down quite a bit. So let's go ahead and, for first of all, your first Dinar, if you don't already have it, which you probably do, but if you don't have your first Dinar yet, you want to use it on a Gavel of the First Arbiter, okay? So you want to get this upgraded to 311 like mine as soon as possible if you can kill Mythic bosses, and a lot of the early Mythic bosses are very killable on this Fated difficulty. So you should be able to eventually get that. It's bar none the best. I know some people are annoyed with the having to kill the soul and stuff like that, but it's just so much damage, guys. It is the Mythic Gavel. That actually, the weapon itself kind of makes us compete. I wouldn't say the same or better. Compete with some actually really good specs. Mythic Gavel is just extremely strong. And so you're going to want to get that as number one. That's your number one Dinar. That's your number one upgrade thing. That's the same as, in the video that I made before. The thing that changed a little bit was the trinkets. Now I have this really, really great graphic here I made for this. And it's the 4, what I would call tier 1 trinkets. And in this order. Scars of Fraternal Strife. That is from Jailer. First Sigil from the Council fight in the Pantheon fight in also in Sofo. The Enforcer Stun Grenade, that's from Iron Docks, and then Old Warrior Soul, that is from Sylvanas. Now 3 of these you can also purchase with the Dinar. The Enforcer Stun Grenade you cannot, so you would have to get lucky out of your vault, or you could upgrade it to 298 or whatever with Valor, but then it becomes a little bit even more worse than the First Sigil. The Enforcer Stun Grenade at 304 and the First Sigil at 304 are very, very, very close to being equal. First Sigil just edges it out. And then, but if you are lucky enough to get this, what's nice about the Enforcer Stun Grenade, in my opinion, it's I actually got lucky enough to get one. I had probably a better upgrade in my vault, but I took this because it's actually really good for Mythic Plus to be able to use a trinket on every single wings in a Mythic Plus instead of every 5 minutes, and then it's almost a boss pull, so I'm going to save it. Now it's 6 minutes before I use it, so it's not like the First Sigil can be a little bit awkward, right, in a Mythic Plus setting, and so Enforcer Stun Grenade is really good for that. But overall, it's almost equal with First Sigil anyways. Let's look at Scars first. So this is the best trinket. Now Scars, a lot of people didn't use it because it wasn't necessarily powerful enough to justify the negative effects. So like when you use this, it's like a kiss curse, right? So you get this rune empowered on you that makes you do more damage, but then you also get like slowed, or you take damage, right? Or you have like a dot on you, a ticking dot, and it's like, it's not like a minor thing. It's a thing you have to deal with. The slow, of course, we have like Blessing of Freedom as a Paladin, so that's not that big of a deal, but there are side effects to this, but they did increase the damage to where it's probably worth it. If you're going for just pure damage, it's probably worth it at least to have one. So a 311 Scars, it also scales to 311 because it's off the last boss, so a 311 Scars is going to be the best possible trinket. The best possible combination and the second best trinket will be from the Pantheon with the First Sigil. So a 304 First Sigil and then a 311 Scars is pretty much going to be your best combination in terms of pure damage, assuming you do them perfectly. Now, there'll be some people who just don't manage 2 on uses very well, or just really hate it. And what I would say is choose whichever one of these that you want, Scars, First Sigil, or 304 Stun Grenade, and then combine it with Old Warrior Soul, and just not worry about having 2 uses if that's really something that's going to bother you. I would consider all 4 of those tier 1 trinkets still. So any combination is fine, but the number one combination is going to be Scars and First Sigil. First Sigil is actually very easy to acquire in Raid because you can kill it even on Mythic difficulty very easily, and First Sigils should be pretty much everywhere. Now, you could be the very unlucky person who doesn't get one. So I'm not necessarily recommending that you use a Dinar on the first sigil anymore. In fact, as far as Dinars go, after your gavel, if you're only playing Ret, so you're only worried about Ret, I would actually probably go with Scars, and then maybe on your last one, doing Old Warrior Soul. And that, but if all you care about is damage and you're like, I'm going to do my sigil, I'm going to do my scars, then you just go ahead and send it on your sigil if you don't have one yet. And then you do that. But Old Warrior Soul is fine as well. Old Warrior Soul also, for whatever reason, tends to sim pretty well with the stun grenade. Maybe just having that haste buff up for every wings and also having your grenade up for every wings. Not entirely sure why, but it does work very well with that as far as a pairing of trinkets go. It's just a little bit behind like a double on use there, so that's an option as well. But you have 4 tier 1 trinkets to work on. The stun grenade you have to get from a drop or from your vault to get 304, and to have it really compete with first sigil, it needs to be from your vault. And I was lucky enough to get that myself, and so that's a very good trinket. And there's 4 tier 1 trinkets. You can combine them. You'll combine them differently depending on what content you're doing. You'll combine them differently, based on the fight that you're in for like a raid or whatever. But those are the 4 trinkets that you really want to focus on. Are the 4 here: Scars, Sigil, Stun Grenade, Old Warrior Soul. You can't really go wrong with a combination of these. But again, this is the order if you just want the top damage. Obviously, sim them for yourself. Maybe your haste is low and Old Warrior Soul sims even a little bit higher for you. I don't think it'll overtake the other 2, but you can at least check it out. And that's because Old Warrior Soul was actually nerfed a little bit. So Scars was buffed, Old Warrior Soul was nerfed, and Grenade was buffed. And that's why, those 2 shoot up in here into tier 1. Whereas in my previous video, I basically said, get your gavel, get your Old Warrior Soul, get your first sigil, and be done with your Dinars. And now it just changes a little bit. Now you're choosing between Scars or Old Warrior Soul maybe, or Scars and you're basically choosing between those. Maybe you're always grabbing the first sigil, or maybe you're always grabbing the Scars and you're choosing between sigil and soul. And then in Grenade's just a nice little like for me, since I have Grenade and it's very close to first sigil, I'm probably not going to waste anything. I do have a heroic for sigil, but I'm probably not going to waste like a mythic upgrade on it because I already have the Enforcer Stun Grenade at 304. And so for me, it's probably going to be my next Dinar next week into Scars. My next mythic upgrade will go into Scars. And then I'll have a Scars Grenade combo. And then probably on my last Dinar, I'll use Old Warrior Soul just to try it out with some different types of content and stuff like that. And then eventually, may I upgrade my first sigil all the way? Perhaps. But I do like that. It definitely feels better with the Enforcer Stun Grenade lining up with every wing. So I will say that, even if it's, it could be good. So another thing, right? So let's say Sludge Fist, right? Let's say you're doing Mythic Sludge Fist, and for the hero pillar, you use your first sigil. So you combine your Enforcer Stun Grenade and your first sigil. On the pillar with the heroism break, you use first sigil. And you just pump as much damage as you can during that. And then for the other ones, it won't be up for every one necessarily, right? But you would use like your stun grenade, right? When you can on the other pillars. So that'd be like a situation where you could use 2 trinkets, right? 2 on-use trinkets in that way, like grenade plus first sigil. That's not a terrible combination either, but again, it's a just kind of an annoying 2 on-use thing. And I believe like in general, so I gave you a specific situation, but in general, I think you would use your first sigil on pull, right? With your wings, then you would go ahead and put your stun grenade on cooldown as soon as you could, 20 seconds in, and then you would just hold your wings for 20 seconds and then pair it back up with your stun grenade on the next one. And then eventually, and then you would pair it up again. And then if there was another wings, then you would pair that one up with your first sigil again. It would probably be how that goes in that order. But again, some people don't like to do that. I totally understand. So yeah, just wanted to do an update post on these trinkets and stuff. Again, 4 tier 1 trinkets, what I would call tier 1 trinkets. Any combination of them is good. And it's okay if you don't have 304s. It's okay if you don't have 311s. If that's not the content you do. If you do heroic content or normal content or mythic plus 7s or plus 10s or whatever, you can have those level of these trinkets. You can have a 290, 292 or whatever stun grenade combined with a 291, sigil or whatever, right? You can do you can have any combination of these tier 1 trinkets that you want. Of course, if you're in a situation where you somehow get like I'm wearing the fusion amplifier right here, this actually sims better than like the lower item level trinkets that I have, so I'm using it right now. That's fine too, right? It's not like these other trinkets are unusable. It's just that if everything is equal, if every item level is equal, then those are just the tier 1 trinkets basically. So that's it for this one, guys. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. Helps me out a lot. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.